All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to DAO Talk. This is DAO Talk Monthly. If you've been watching the feed recently, we've been doing weekly interviews. And like I said, back in the announcement of the relaunch, I guess if it's not a relaunch or a program relaunch, we are moving towards doing just one ecosystem update, or not ecosystem update, those are on Twitter. One DAO Talk pod, like what's the squad update on the entire month. So here we are, end of April, month of April. Frisian is gone, now replaced by Ellie. RIP Frizz. He's still with us out there somewhere, but he's too good for the podcast now. But how are you guys?
Dead to me.
Caden, start with you. How are you doing?
So good, so good. I just bought a mountain bike, so it's time to really touch grass and crash in dirt and get away from the computer more often.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ellie, how are you?
Great.
Welcome to the pod.
Thanks. Yeah, podcast debut. Got my wisdom teeth out last week, so we're still recovering from that, but other than that, we're good.
For those who don't know, Ellie is the editor of this podcast. So you have experienced her in one way, whether you knew it or not. Now she's here. That sounded weird coming out of my mouth, and then see if she had to react that way. All right, whatever. See, how are you?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I'm good.
So
I just moved to Paris, so I'm good. It's right near the Eiffel Tower. Thank you. It's pretty sick here. Yeah.
Cool.
You should visit. We'll see.
I will be visiting. I'll be visiting you in Europe soon, but maybe not Paris. I don't know. We'll see.
We know the answer to that one, don't we?
We do. It's better if you just have those expectations.
Just
then
you're
not disappointed.
Yeah.
You're
lower
pleasantly
your
surprised.
expectations.
You're pleasantly surprised. I do travel. I'm not traveling to where you are.
Under promise, over deliver. Yeah, we'll see.
Go. There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
All right, let's dive into what's been going on, right? If you've been following the ecosystem updates, you definitely have an idea of what's been going on. The big thing that we've announced in the past month that we're really excited about is MultiGov, which is a multi-chain governance solution that we are working on with Wormhole, obviously being, one of the leading bridges across all the chains, and Scopelift, who's going to be leading out some of the dev work for that. We're really excited about it. We have this happened a couple weeks ago, so if you want to read the entire announcement and kind of dive deep into the documentation and the nitty gritty of it all and what it looks like, we have that, and there's some links to Raf's talk. Raf gave a talk, Raf being our CTO and co-founder with the long, beautiful black hair. He was on DAO Talk interviews a couple weeks ago. Actually, yeah, he gave a talk at Denver, and then we also did a podcast episode, which is in this feed if you just want to scroll down and find it, diving deep into multi-chain governance and how we're thinking about it and why we're excited about it. But there's a lot more to come with MultiGov, and we really feel like it is the future. The future is multi-chain, and we're kind of coining MultiGov as the movement going forward, MultiGov TM. Caden, I would love to get your thoughts about it being quick overview. Me and Ellie are marketing content. CHG is BD lead. If you've had the experience of, I'm trying to watch my words now and not say something weird, of being BD'd by CHG, you'll never forget it. It sounds weird. We're going to go with it. But CHG is the BD head of BD. Oh my God. I haven't done this in a minute. And then Caden's our, what is your official position, Caden?
Man of many hats. I've moved into more of a DevRel focused role and customer success.
Nice.
Alongside that.
What are you seeing an initial response to MultiGov, and why are you particularly excited about it? I'd love to get your thoughts from a DevRel's perspective.
MultiGov is super exciting to me because one of the considerations that people have when they're trying to figure out where to launch and what chain to use and where they want their protocol to live is trying to figure out where their customers are at and where specifically for us where voters are at. And multigov is an option that lets them choose the best chain for their protocol and its specific needs, whether that's, focused on DeFi or whether this is like, what do we call fucking retail focused products? Or, depending on whatever their protocol is focused on, they can choose the chain and the environment that's suitable for them. And then multigov lets them use governance everywhere. So they don't have to compromise one factor of their protocol's deployment based on another. So it's really exciting for protocol developers, and really exciting as far as like voters and delegates gas costs and things like that. And we're implementing Solana, which is a really exciting development too. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, if you haven't checked out the Tally newsletter this week, we covered Solana governance. CSG did our first ever like dive into Solana back in December. I thought it was only like a couple months ago, but we were looking at it when we were doing research for it. It was like in December, and so much has happened since then. So we got some updates on the Solana side, but the Wormhole side, thinking about it from like I like to give like the consumer crypto, like just not super technical perspective. Like it really is just allowing users, especially in the DAO space, the freedom to like take advantage of the benefits of every chain instead of having to silo yourself to one. And it allows you to make decisions down the line. Like a thing we love about like Governor and building into the ecosystem is it's modular and it's always growing and building, and you can do whatever you want on it. And kind of the natural extension of that is allowing that, like not only to be modular on the chain you're on, but also to be modular in regards to like, you're not locked into using mainnet, right? Like the easiest example or the easiest way to like show the value add is, if you're on mainnet, your DAO's launched on mainnet, say like Uniswap or not Arbitrum. Arbitrum's on it too, but say, Uniswap operates on mainnet. Gas cost is absolutely insane. It's slow. It's not providing the best like foundation for governance participation, especially as these L2s and L3s bring on a lot more people. A lot of them probably are never really going to interact with mainnet, which is kind of cool to think about. And it allows them to seamlessly execute proposals, do governance, everything you would do on mainnet on a different chain, without having to worry about security, without having to worry about things getting broken. So if you want to dive deep into like how that actually works, like Kate had mentioned, it's called a hub and spoke model, and Raf's talk, and I would direct you to his ETH Denver talk, not the podcast, and the documentation, to kind of learn about that. It's pretty simple to understand. It's hard to explain like talking. And we have some really good diagrams that we built out in the documentation and just in the mirror post. So you can go as deep or as complex as you want. But the short story is it's fucking awesome. And we're really excited about it. And it's just announced right now, but it will be first employed by the Wormhole DAO itself. So putting our money where our mouth is. And it's not just, something we're building and throwing out there. It's something that's actually going to be used and implemented in one of the largest DAOs. Which will be one of the largest DAOs when it goes live, which I think is in a couple weeks in May. I don't think that's like private knowledge. Wormhole's been pretty open about it on Twitter and in their social channels. So super excited about that. And we're definitely going to have more content around that as well. Anything else we want to add on Wormhole?
I'll just say like quickly, it's really cool because there's so many DAOs that, started a few years ago before the L2 explosion had begun, and they set themselves up, but in a way they kind of screwed themselves into these like $40 gas costs. Left Harris, like a really popular delegate in a few DAOs like Optimism, and I think Uniswap, said on Twitter, it was like kind of funny the way he put it, but he basically said, don't ask me to vote ever again unless you compensate me for it because it's that expensive. But he's demanded to vote anyway. So I think the thing I keep saying to the DAOs we talk to is that it meets community members where they actually are. So it's not asking them to do anything. It's literally all behind the scenes, using these like building blocks that people are actually familiar with, like Governor, time lock, cross-chain token transfers, cross-chain messaging, and then combining them together in like a unique way. So I think multi-chain is going to be massive. I'm pretty excited about it for like DAOs that already exist and DAOs that are going to exist in the future. One more thing that's interesting is that like the politics of which chain you pick to launch your product on and your DAO on is so massive these days. You know, people want to be Ethereum aligned for both purely political reasons and also like security reasons. So yeah, you want to launch your DAO on Ethereum, but you don't want to pay the gas fees of Ethereum. And there's pretty much no simple way around it besides multi-gov. So it should be sick. It seems like the answer to the very obvious problem. So yeah, super excited. It's cool to have like the good feedback from across the space too. It's not, I've worked in a few places and then you do this product you think is sick and then it's actually, and everyone's like, okay, whatever. And the reaction's been the opposite for this one. So we're looking good. I think we're targeting launch like early midsummer, which is coming up quicker than we think.
For sure. Keeping on the product side, we released frame support, or our first iteration of frame support on Farcaster. Caden, as a resident Farcaster lover, if I can call you that.
Mr. Farcast. Yeah.
Mr. Farcast himself, Mr. Cast Far. He loves to cast far.
When there were invites to Farcaster, Caden invited me in the early days.
Yeah. I'm that
Before
OG.
Tally?
Yes, before
Tally. Yep.
Damn. But yeah, we launched frame support. We have a bunch of content around this. We did a deep dive on frames on a couple of newsletters ago. We'll link that in the show notes. But if you want to dive deep into like Delegate Super Kit, or I think that's what it's called, Delegate or Super something
Delegate
like
Kit.
that. Delegate Kit. It's
Yeah.
based on like the superchain research that Dennis and Frisian are doing for the Optimism Collective. It kind of scopes out our entire vision for what we think, and we've talked about it on the podcast before, what we think Farcaster has the potential to be in regards to like solving a lot of the fragmentation issues within DAO governance. So we're starting to roll that out. We worked with Dawson, who was the founder of EarnFi, I believe, which was like an airdrop tool that was acquired by Bankless, and he's been doing some freelance stuff for us. So we're excited about that. The first thing we launched was, I think it's just like delegate support, or being able to share delegate profiles on Farcaster. For those uninitiated, Caden, if you want to give like a brief overview of like what it looks like, why it's important, and kind of like where we're going with that.
Sure, yeah. Well, frames are exciting because they're kind of like mini apps inside of a tweet or a cast. And there's been a lot of really cool, exciting development around them. A lot of really cool things have come out of it. A lot of silly things as well, which is always fun to see. We kind of see Farcaster as like a new, almost like universal UI for a lot of things. And so we're kind of like doubling down on Farcaster being, the home of governance actions, so to speak. We're not going to stop developing our platform and building out, features that don't fit neatly into Farcaster. But, one of the problems that we're trying to address is that the multiple places to find information about anything that's happening in crypto. And Farcaster has been a really good place for finding that type of information because there's a lot of people, it's, largely focused on crypto people right now. Sure, they're going to expand eventually, but right now it's been the density of information is really good there for crypto. So, frames give us an opportunity for all sorts of different DAOs that have had all of their own interfaces for the longest time, or like their own forums and that type of thing, to create their own channels or their own official profiles for things like that. So what we've launched is our first frame is for delegate profiles. So you can share your profile from Tally directly into a cast and display some information about you, and then that gives users an opportunity to go to your profile and then delegate to you, which kind of solves our delegation issue in DAOs and governance a little bit. But like you'd mentioned, delegate kit.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Delegate
think
kit.
that's what it's
I looked
called.
it up. It's
Yeah,
delegate kit.
that's
You
good.
should know that. Yeah.
Someone should know. But yeah, we have done a little bit of research on where we think this is going and how we want to support it, and we are really excited to build out more of that in the future, because frames seem like they're just getting more capable, and it's a really exciting opportunity for governance and crypto in general, I think.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to keep it. I'm just going to run through some of the product stuff we've announced and kind of what Ellie and I have been working on from like the brand design side of things. And Ellie, we can get your thoughts on this as well. But yeah, so if you haven't been following along, this is a monthly update because we have just like significantly ramped up our content distribution on Twitter. So like we're not going to like highlight all of this. If you want to go check it out, go check it on Twitter. You're not here for us to like just consistently show tally, but something we've been making a significant, we've invested significant resources from like a time and money perspective is upping the brand identity and marketing side of Tally. Something we and I talk about ad nauseum on this podcast, especially when I interview some people, and something I've always talked about with like talks again at conferences and the typical UX UI meme, but also just like DAOs and tooling companies need to invest in vibes and branding. So we've put our money where our mouth is, and we've been doing that. We've been doing it slowly over the past couple of years, but we've really made a concerted effort to go hard on it. And one of the big things, or one of the main areas that's taken form, at least for now, stay tuned, is our product highlights on Twitter. So Ellie has been, if you've seen them, making some like absolutely fucking banger graphics for every platform we're on. So on the podcast, on YouTube, on Twitter, if you've been interacting, you've definitely been seeing it. So I don't need to fucking, my dog's having a battle to the death outside my door. Sorry. Check those out, or you've seen them if you've been watching. But Ellie, I would love for you to like kind of give an overview on like what we've been talking about internally, because I feel like I have so many things going on at all times that I haven't really taken time to like sit down and really like ruminate on like what we've been doing. We've gotten really good feedback both internally, like Kate and Sishi and Version have loved it, and we've gotten good feedback from like the ETH Denver merch and things, and we've kind of taken that to build off it. But Ellie, what has your perspective been like? Being the newer hire coming in, like what have you seen before, and where are we going? What have we done? And like, yeah, open-ended question. Take it wherever you
Yeah.
want to take it.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been here for about a month now. And when I got here, I think like our first like priority was to make the like visual identity like more cohesive. And I feel like Tommy, you did such a good job with like your ETH Denver merch and with like the branding over the past 2 years that you've been working on and like figuring out like what you want. And I feel like all I've really done is just like taken like my favorite aspects of like what you've made and kind of like just built on top of that and like made more graphics and done more things. And now that there's two of us, like we can just like pump out so much more content. I'm really excited about Tally Tuesday, which is launching next week. So you may have seen our thread last week where we kind of highlighted the DAO launcher feature. And next week we're going to highlight our security council feature. And we'll be highlighting other Tally features every week. But I've just been having such a blast working on graphics, and I wasn't expecting that to be as big a part of my job as it is, but it's like my favorite part, and it's really fun and exciting. And then just like in general, like making everything more cohesive across all of our platforms and channels, the newsletter, all of our different social medias. And then something that we haven't like done quite yet, but that I'm also really excited about is to utilize more crypto native platforms. So I'm excited to start minting all of this shit on Zora and getting it on Farcaster, and just kind of leaning into our niche a bit more. I don't know if that's...
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I want to get your opinion on like I mean, you were working, tangentially in the space as like a freelancer. What have you seen as like, it doesn't have to be Tally specific, but like, where do you feel like the most, like, where do you think most DAOs and even just tooling platforms, don't have to be DAO specific, are not messing up, but like, what are they leaving on the table? Or like, what do you think people should be investing in? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like as far as like branding goes, like my favorite ones are the ones that are fun. You know, like my favorite ones are the ones who like knows their audience. I mean, like all of us here in crypto are like a little rebellious, a little down to earth, I think, more than like traditional tech or traditional finance. And I think like being able to like lean into that energy a bit is where like the most successful brands are in the space, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. You hit on like the crypto native side of things, and we'll kind of transition into conference season and probably wrap this thing up because CSG's been out on the streets, getting real feedback from everybody. But like Bear Chain obviously is the obvious one. Ed took over Twitter. CSG's like, yes, it's time for me to talk. Uh, like Bear Chain is kind of like the gold star in terms of like marketing activation, right? And like I think we're trying to find that line of like, okay, obviously we can't, or maybe we can, but obviously because I know you're gonna be like, maybe we can't do this. We can't like put Dennison and Frisian in bikinis and throw them on a fucking jet ski, right? Like we can't do that.
Oh
But
my
maybe we
God.
could do like a drone show of some kind down the line. What, CHE? What have you like?
I
What was your
think
experience like with Dubai and like all that crazy shit?
it was definitely memorable, I think, for if not anything else. It was memorable, but another thing that was interesting is like all of the like Barra baddies people know like deeply about the chain and can full like shill it with the technical backing to do so. It's not just like a marketing ploy, like I think some people made it out to be on Twitter. It was actually like real conversations were had, which was interesting. They also, I think it was Eigenlayer, someone was giving out vapes, branded vapes. And that's where I think Tally Zins come in. And that's sort of a middle ground between the drone show and then like Twitter,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I think that's how we activate the masses.
Yeah. You got to find like what works for your, like we just say crypto native, but like you got to find what works for your brand, what you want to communicate. And like memorability is definitely like the goal, but also like you can definitely do damage if you're not intentional about it. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
this is not financial or operational advice. It's just, open thoughts about what could work and what couldn't work. But we're definitely thinking about that and we're excited about that for the upcoming conference season. On that note, CHE and I will be at ETH Berlin, which is May 25th through like May 29th. And then we'll be in ETH Dublin, which is beginning of June. And then the big event, which they'll have the whole team there, will be ETHCC in Belgium. We have some exciting announcements for events at that, which will be in July, like I said, in Brussels. And then DAO Tokyo is happening in late August. At least Dennison will be there. Maybe some more people will be there. But DAO Tokyo is an absolutely amazing event. It's exactly what you would want an event in Tokyo to be, especially it's run by like an absolutely amazing group at Fracton Ventures. They've done it before. If you haven't seen highlights from that, go check that out. It's a sister event of DAO NYC. And then it'll be a Dev Connect in November, which is in Bangkok. And then CHE will probably be all over. Any event that's going to be in Europe probably over the next like 6 months. CHE will be there, so reach out if you want to talk.
Crypto or otherwise. Crypto or
Crypto or
otherwise.
otherwise.
I'll be at FarCon next week as well.
Hell yeah. FarCon,
nice.
yeah, FarCon. And then I'll be at Fest in August. Yeah, there's some of those small ones I forget.
Sick.
But we'll be everywhere. Someone from Tally will be at all these events. So we're excited about that. Any other thoughts, like just about what's happened in the past month? Like anything fun, anything crazy? It's been a pretty good month, right? Like it's definitely like I feel like we're out of the bear, but not completely. Like it's starting to ramp up. Nothing's really gotten too frothy or crazy yet. And it's just been like a lot of really good building and product announcements. So I'm excited.
Hell yeah. And we're having book club, the four of us, Three Body Problem.
Oh
Next
shit, I
week.
haven't started it yet.
You have
Get reading.
4 days.
You have 4 days.
4 days.
Start reading 2x speed.
All right.
We're reading what's it called?
3 body problems.
3 Body Problem.
How are you going, Tommy?
I finished it because I finished the show too. I really
And you
liked
finished
it.
the book.
Wow.
Oh, very impressive.
I don't think
All
any
right.
of us saw that coming, Tommy.
I should just watch the show and then I don't need to read the book.
Actually, please don't.
Well,
Oh, is the show bad?
Show's okay, but the book's way better.
wait, when did you read the book?
All that time I'm not traveling. I'm doing something else. I read more than all of
okay.
you. Maybe Caden reads more than me.
Wow.
Oh my! You think you're better?
Okay.
You think you're better than me because you read?
Maybe I'm reading other books, Tommy.
Yeah.
I showed you what other books I'm reading.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is a perfect encapsulation of what happens to me every day.
I'm reading governance
I
forums,
respond.
bro. Get
Tommy
to work.
says something dumb, and then we
No.
all jump down his throat.
Let's revisit the audio. You guys attacked me for saying, "Oh, no one would have expected that." Oh, Tommy's a fucking idiot. And then I say, "Hey, yeah, actually, I read a lot. I read more than you guys." And you're like, "Oh my god, he thinks he's so much better than us." Like, what? I can't win. I can't win.
CHG,
okay,
did you
though.
find it on a PDF?
Caden hooked it up. Cheers, Caden.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, CHG's fingers.
If it's a financial issue, we can sort it out. I don't pay for anything.
All right. Well, this might be the worst podcast ever, but thank you for listening.
We say that every time. We say that
Yeah.
every time.
Every time.
It does keep getting worse.
I'm going to cut that out.
Just when you think it can't get worse, it does.
That should be like our tagline. But we'll see you. All of us will see you in a month for the next episode. And then I'll probably be with you, CHE, for that episode. We'll probably record that in Berlin, and then I'll be back next
At the club.
I'll be back next week for another edition of Dot Interview. So see you then. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Later.